Should you train when you're tired? This is a question I get a fair bit, and today I'm particularly an expert. I just got off of a flight yesterday, but it was like a 10 or 12 hour time change coming from Europe, and I'm exhausted. Slept about 4 or 5 hours last night. Kids were up early because I was bringing the kids back from Europe. They were also screwed up, so they started playing and eating at about 2:30 in the morning. It's now about 1 in the afternoon. I'm really beginning to feel it. I'm really tired. Coincidentally, I did train today, but I did have to modify the training. I'm going to talk about that. So, should you train when you're tired? My answer here comes from having tried many different things. I've tried just gutting through it. Yes, damn it, I'm tired. I'm going to get up and I'm going to train hard no matter what. For example, I did this in 2006. In 2006, I already had one kid. I had a second kid. I was trying to hold together a failing marriage. I was working full-time as a firefighter, and I had just been accepted into the Abu Dhabi trials, and I was all excited about doing that because I was actually still at a pretty good level. My training hadn't suffered too much yet because the second kid was still very young. The only time, though, that I could train, that I could get that extra training in to bring myself up to the peak was at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I had a couple of friends who got up super early. They also went to bed relatively early. Anyhow, they got up super early. I would get up super early. We'd meet up at 5:30 or sometimes 6 to train. I'd get a good, hard sparring session in. Then I'd run off to work at the fire department. I'd run off home to grab the kids. And guess what? I didn't go to bed early. I'd stay up late, working on the grapple arts thing, working the second job. And within a month, I was really badly injured. I got a pinched nerve in the neck that felt like there was someone jabbing a knife or an ice pick into this shoulder all the time for months. And I tried everything. I tried acupuncture, I tried massage, I tried chiropractic, I tried ice, I tried traction, I tried anti-inflammatories. I tried a whole bunch more things, and none of them worked. Everything was either completely ineffectual or it made things worse. In the end, I had to drop out. That was the last serious competition that I would have wanted to compete in. And honestly, the neck's never been the same. And it was a really good object lesson. You can't just keep on whittling away at your sleep if you're training hard. If you're training hard, you need to rest hard. I've noticed, for example, when I do heavy squats, not so much deadlifts, but more squats. The moment I add heavy squats to my routine, A, my hunger goes through the roof. B, I need to sleep an extra hour. If I feel pretty good after 8 hours of sleep, when I'm not squatting, when I start to squat, do heavy squats to failure, multiple sets, then all of a sudden I need 9 hours of sleep every single time. And conversely, if I'm not getting enough sleep, say I'm just making it by on 6 hours a night, and then I add heavy squats to my routine, all of a sudden it feels like I'm getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. Inevitably, I break down. I overtrain, which means you get sick, which means you get injured, which means that something's gonna break. Because you cannot train hard if you're consistently not resting enough. So how much sleep do you actually need? The sad answer is it varies from person to person and, like I just said, on the activity that you're doing. Some people out there are just blessed with good genetics. They can get by on 5 hours of sleep a night for years and years and years and keep going. And I wish I was one of those people. I can usually get by on about 7 hours of sleep, cutting into 6, but at 6 I start going downhill. And like I said, when there's heavy training involved, that's immediately an extra hour. And when you take a look at a lot of the pros who are training, yeah, they're sleeping at night. They're taking all kinds of steroids and hormone enhancements and growth hormone and other things to help them recover faster, which means they need less sleep. And then they're often napping in the afternoon. So, that's how they're handling that heavy volume of training. If you're not on the gear, if you're not taking all kinds of extra supplements, if you're not in a position where you have the luxury to take the afternoon nap, to sleep in, because you've got to get up and go to your job, because you've got to get up and take the kids, because you've got to go up and take care of your mom, whatever it is, it's going to be really hard to train as hard as the professionals, especially those professionals, are younger. So, how much sleep do you need? It varies from person to person, and only you can figure that out. Some people need 8 hours. Some people need 9 hours. Some people, I hate them, They only need 5 hours. You need to figure out where your optimal sleep amount is. There's a really good book called The Sleep Thieves that you should read if you're interested in this topic. It sounds kind of like a boring topic, the amount of sleep people need, but it's actually a very well written and highly entertaining read about sleep, the biology of sleep, and how they've tested how much sleep people need. And the short answer is you need more than you think you do. If you look at most tribal societies, basically when the lights went out, meaning the sun went down, people more or less went to sleep. They might stay up at the campfire, they might, go to sleep for a bit, wake up, get the campfire going, go back to sleep. But there was a whole lot of sleeping, extra sleeping in hunter-gatherer societies. So probably we're evolved to sleep a lot more than we currently do. Maybe not all in one shot, maybe broken up in chunks over the day. But certainly this getting by for years and years and years on 5 or 6 hours of sleep, probably not that much of a historical precedent for it. Probably we're not adapted. And a lot of the people who say, like the Wall Street executives who say, oh, well, I work 95 hours a week every week, and then on some weeks I work 110. Well, first of all, take a look at how much cocaine they're taking, how much meth, what are the kind of stimulants they're putting in their system, and is it sustainable? Probably not in the long run. All right, so for whatever reason, you're tired today. You didn't get enough sleep last night, you've been training extra hard. Should you still train? The answer is yes, kind of, sort of. It's okay to go and train and just to coast once in a while. As long as you don't coast every day, getting out there, rolling lightly, working an aspect of your technique that you don't normally work, that's okay. It's okay just to go and drill once in a while. It's okay to go and problem solve. That's what I was doing today. Most of the training that I did today with one of my training partners involved getting put in the spider guard. I'd put my training partner in the spider guard, and he'd sit back to a leg lock type position to fight for the leg drag, to get up and then finalize the leg drag. And I'd give about 10%, 20, 30% resistance. Enough to give him problems to solve. Then we'd switch. After he would pass my guard, he would pull spider guard on me, and I would try the same style. I would sit back to a leg lock type position, being careful not to reap because we're training with a gi, then work my way into a leg drag position, come back into base, finalize the leg drag. Again, he was giving me 10, 20, 30% resistance. Sometimes we'd stop. I'd say, hey, what if I put my foot here? And he'd go, yeah, I don't really feel that. And I'd go, okay. And then we'd go and we'd train, and then he'd hold my leg off the ground. And I'd say, yeah, that really affects my ability to come to base, but I can shift my weight this way and get my foot down to the ground. So it was kind of a conversation. It was a very easy roll. We had a light sweat going. That was totally appropriate for me, being that I'm completely sleep deprived. I'm time shifted, sleep deprived. If I'd gone hard today, then the odds of my getting injured, the odds of my getting sick, the odds of something going wrong are much higher. And probably, I'm hoping that tomorrow I'm going to have some really physically challenging exercise. And so I'm trying not to draw my reserves down too much. Here's something that has worked for me a lot in the past. On days when I'm just not feeling it. On days when it's time to work out and I'm like, oh God. Here's what I do. I give myself permission to not train that day after I get dressed.